And does that mean that you feel good about yourself, about your body as well?
Yeah. And that's also a big part of my journey and my message with Oh Yes, because I grew up feeling good, and then along the way you lose it because of what you said, indeed, exposure to things that are not realistic and a bunch of other things. But you grow up confident. As a little girl, you don't really care. And then along the way, you just get these things piled up in your head and you lose that confidence. So I was someone who definitely went from one diet to the other. I had kind of a problematic relationship with food. It was kind of like my coping mechanism. So I definitely had to work on it myself a lot of self-development, a lot of books. And I now see how light it feels if you don't have to take all of that into account as well. So that's definitely something I also want to share with my brand, that it just feels so much lighter when you don't care about all of that stuff all the time.
Hi, Lore.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm actually very good. You?
I'm doing fine. These are special times. I think you heard that question already a lot. What is the impact of Corona on the things you're doing?
On the things I'm doing is actually a very positive impact. I think a lot of more people are aware of shopping locally. So business-wise, it's been very good for me. And personally as well. I went through some rough patches, but that's part of it. I was able to use this time to also focus a bit more and stand still on what truly matters. So it's been a little bit rough, but it's been very rewarding, I would say, and very, I just learned a lot about myself, and that's always a good thing, I think.
And so you think that with this or without Corona, you wouldn't have learned these lessons about yourself?
Maybe not. I learned a lot, both personally and professionally. I also learned that I'm very good at making things that are quite easy, turning them into something very complex. I'm really good at that, which is not great. And I'm very good at keeping busy and inventing work, but it might not always be what I actually have to do to succeed. So I'm not sure if I would have gotten there without the lockdown.
Okay. And now on the things on the professional side, did Corona provide you with more creativity? And are you doing certain things now that you did not do before? Because you said people are going to shop more locally. Did you organize special initiatives to attract more people?
Not really, not yet. When it comes to creativity, I feel like that's never the issue. I think it's more calming down of a bunch of different ideas. And I think that's what I really did now. So going back to the core of what I'm doing, going back to the essence, focusing on my t-shirts. So maybe lowering the creativity a bit was what I needed.
Just doing a couple of things, but doing them very well and focus on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you finished your studies, if I'm correct, in 2015, and you worked 1 year, and then you started your own business, correct?
No, that's not going to be correct.
Okay.
I finished, I guess, in 2015. I'm not so sure anymore, but probably, if that's on my LinkedIn.
Yes.
And then I worked for about 2 years in recruitment, so in headhunting. And then in December 2017, I started Oh Yes.
And what event triggered you to start your own company? Was it the master plan when you were 16 or something?
No. It definitely wasn't. It grew quite spontaneously, and it grew from wanting to do things differently, wanting to do something for myself.
Okay.
Kind of, I wouldn't say a rebellious act, but more, finding my own path, finding my own way of doing things. Not the best practice of a big corporation, but how do I think things could go well, and then what do I lack? So it came from a need to express myself in certain ways that I couldn't at that point.
Okay. And if you now look back in those couple of years. How long have you been busy? So 2017 is 3 years.
Yeah. Oh wow, that sounds sounds very long, but yeah. So December. So I feel like it's only 2, but yeah.
Okay. And you call yourself chief cheerleader?
Yes.
Where did you get that? Is it like one day Beyonce calls you and said, Laura, you should call yourself
You're my
chief?
new cheerleader. She hasn't called lately, so that's a bit of a bummer.
It's still possible.
It, of course, yeah, someday. Actually, the so for my new project, Bamboost,
Yeah.
I work with Annette Sunderman. Maybe the name.
What's the name?
Her name is Annette Sunderman, and she's an eco-friendly fabric consultant,
Okay.
the best one in Belgium, I dare say. And she also works for Beyonce.
Oh.
She does the consulting for her fabrics as well. So I'm only one person away.
Yeah.
Like they always say, you're 6 or 7
Yeah,
away
degrees,
from.
eh? Yeah.
Yeah, from somebody else. So I am now, there's only one person in between, so someday she might actually call me.
But maybe within 3 years she's wearing bamboo underwear on stage in Antwerp.
I would love that. I would really love that.
It is all possible, eh?
True.
Now, you're talking about Bamboost. Where did you get that idea?
I think everything that I came up with so far comes from a personal journey. I also think it's very important that I'm able to relate myself to a certain issue to do the best research.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing research without knowing it for about 2 years because I was looking for more eco-friendly and healthier underwear.
Mm-hmm.
So underwear that breathes better, that absorbs better. And I couldn't really find good solutions there.
Mm-hmm.
I also noticed people don't really talk about it, but it's a super common issue, but we don't actually discuss it between our friends or our sisters, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And so the alternative that most stores or websites recommend is cotton. Yeah. Cotton is usually manipulated because we don't have enough. Mm-hmm. And cotton is also not even the healthiest option. Okay. You also can go to a store and find out, any lingerie store, find out what is healthy or not. So to me, that was, thinking about it, the fact that 75% of women have it. So mm-hmm. almost everyone has it at some point. It was weird to me that there's not more information about it. So I started looking for it myself. And I couldn't really find what I liked within the cotton offer. Yeah. So I decided, okay, I can do that better. I'll pimp it a little bit and give some more options there. And that's how I came to bamboo, because bamboo is even healthier and a lot more eco-friendly than cotton. So that's how that.
What I really like is that you find a very perfect mix between having an eco-friendly underwear and at the same time making it very sexy and very accessible for a lot of women, and don't put it in the kumbaya la la land eco atmosphere. You understand that?
Yeah, that's exactly also what I intended to do, because I'm not very drawn to those kind of websites. Neither was I drawn to if it's very healthy, then it kind of looks like a punishment sometimes. Not to offend any other brands, but it's just not what makes me feel good. And everything that I do in OES is based on making somebody else feel good. Yeah. And if you can already start with your underwear, the first thing you put on during the day, and it already makes you smile. Because, for example, on the inside, there's a quote as well. Yeah. So every pair of panties has like a hidden message on the inside just for you. Yeah. So if you can start your day like that already, I think that's great. And not something you have to wear because it's healthier, but you don't really enjoy it.
Yeah. And the second thing also, you did some couple of photo shoots and you were also part of it. And you showed your, how do you say that, your parts? I don't know the exact term. But yeah, you show yourself as you are. I did not try to make it up. I did not pick any. You took actually realistic women. Mm-hmm. And I won't say hate, but I dislike all this fake, because we're from different generation. I actually dislike this kind of perfect Instagram hashtag, look at me fashionista. I wouldn't call it models, but I think that's messing the minds of people in general, especially women. Yeah. And the fact that you are rebel and just show yourself as you are, I find that you have to have really guts to do that, because you're showing it like Mother Nature and it like this.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did you get that? Is it like your parents, you just do that, or where did you get that?
Well, also the fact that the representation you see online,
Yeah,
the women who look like that don't even look like that, because
yeah,
it's just altered. You have a different lighting, you have a certain angle, like it's altered. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put extra stuff like that out there. And to me, I don't feel like it requires guts, because I also feel like it shouldn't be a big deal, or it shouldn't be like, oh wow, she doesn't use Photoshop. Like I feel like a lot more brands should do it that way.
yeah,
So to me, yeah, it came very natural. Like I don't
yeah,
think I ever had to think about it, or
yeah,
considered, should I cut this off, or should I
yeah, 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 yeah,
want
yeah.
to start? I never really
And
had
does
an
that
issue.
mean that you feel good about yourself, about your body as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's also a big part of my journey and my message with Oh Yes, because I grew up feeling good, and then along the way you lose it because of what you said, indeed, exposure to things that are not realistic, and a bunch of other things. But you grow up confident as a little girl, you don't really
mm,
care,
mm,
and then along the way you just get these things piled up in your
yeah,
head,
these
and
beliefs.
you
Yeah,
lose that confidence. So I was someone who definitely went from one diet to the other. I had
yeah,
kind of a problematic relationship with food. It was
mm,
kind of like my coping mechanism. So I definitely had to work on it myself a lot of um, self-development, a lot of books,
yeah,
and I now see how light it feels if you don't have to take all of that into account as
mhm,
well. So that's definitely something I also want to share with my brand, that
yeah,
yeah, it just feels so much lighter when you don't care about all of
yeah.
that stuff all the time.
But I really believe that you are an inspiration for, yeah, for women in general, to really be yourself and show yourself in the world as you are, and don't put any of these made up stories in your head and think you should look or be like that in order to feel or to be liked. You're just as good as you are, and if people like it, great. If they don't like it,
Yeah,
so
yeah, indeed. Like
uh,
not everybody doesn't like. I mean, there's always someone you don't like yourself. So why would everybody like you? And why would you have to twist everything you
yeah,
do so
yeah,
everybody would like you? Nobody's gonna
yeah.
like
it's
you. There's
it's
a saying: if you want to please everyone, you should sell ice cream.
yeah, 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 for Steve Jobs, eh?
But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but even now, if you sell ice cream, you also have to make sure it's vegan, and like you have to have a bunch of things already there. You can't just sell ice cream anymore, even.
Yeah.
So it has to match so many other criteria. So it's, to me, it's impossible to please everyone. And if you do what feels good to you, if you take ownership for what you do, because you might not always make the most popular decisions, but if you take
Hmm.
ownership of that, it also shouldn't matter
No,
if
no.
people agree or not.
So it's actually self-love, eh? It's being true to yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's setting your boundaries and everything, eh? And setting relationships also. Eh? It's a very powerful Beyonce message. But no, but it's. I mean, how young are you? How young are you?
How I turned 29 in the lockdown. I'm not used to saying it yet, but I'm 29 right now.
29.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still very young to have these kind of lessons and to realize that. I mean, yeah, to me, I think I was over. I'm just turned 45, so I that journey started for me after I was 33, 34. I was losing my hair, which was for me. I mean, you cannot imagine that, but that was a really difficult thing to accept.
Mhm.
Now, so you were in a kind of negative period, I would call it, about yourself. Is it
Yeah.
then like one day you woke up and you said, no more, I'm going to start living another life? Or how did that process went for you?
I think it's very step by step. It's very small things you read, you hear, you realize, and those little things add up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a journey, it's a process. I'm definitely still in the journey. I
Right.
definitely still have moments where I'm not like, everything is fine.
Yeah.
So I definitely still have fallbacks. But it's a journey,
Yeah.
and it's, I think, not one thing that makes a difference. It's just really focusing on it,
Yeah.
allowing you to be there,
Yeah.
allowing feelings of shame as well, feelings of negativity, inviting it kind of, seeing it for what it is. And if you feel ashamed for a long time, first let that shame be there, and eventually you will be able to almost be friends with it. And then you can give it a place. But pushing it away and thinking you cannot ever be negative about yourself, or like if you always push that away, it's also not gonna.
No, it's actually running away from it, which is actually going to make it bigger, and it's going to enforce that instead of just accepting it and standing in that. Something you can learn from Veerle. And if you accept that and you look at it and then you say, okay, it is what it is, and then it automatically goes away, like the clouds.
Like what?
The clouds.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Now, so you're also selling T-shirts, because I'm a fan of your T-shirts, although I'm not in your target group, I guess. But is then the plan that you create these T-shirts, which are also, by the way, eco-friendly, and they're also made in Antwerp, if I'm correct, eh?
Yeah, actually right here behind me.
Okay, you do it all yourself?
Yeah. Well, not the T-shirts come as a T-shirt, and then I label, and then I put the print on it myself.
Okay. And is it then the plan to lower down the T-shirts when the underwear is boosting, or is it like, no, oh yes, is the brand, and I want to create several things? It's now T-shirts, it's underwear, maybe in the future something else?
I'm not 1000% sure of that yet, but I think it would make more sense to separate the two. It kind of breaks my heart because yes, it's like my baby, and I would have some issues changing the name, but I'll get over that eventually. But it makes more sense to separate the T-shirts and the underwear, because people already have to get a lot of information about bamboo underwear to begin with. There's still a lot of awareness needed just for that one product. So I feel like if it's on a website with a bunch of other things, it might be
it will not have enough
I have
attention.
to compete with other brands that do either bamboo or underwear, so I have to make sure that it's very clear, it's very simple, it's very basic. You know exactly what it is, what the benefits are. You can always read more if you want, but you should be able to find it on the homepage, what I'm trying to say, and what benefit is as a customer. So it makes sense to separate them.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go back on the personal development. What were for you specific books or people? You just talked a little bit about vulnerability. That sounds for me very Brené Brown, if you know her.
Yeah,
what?
I'm obsessed with Brené Brown.
Okay. Did you watch a Netflix documentary or the movie of what is it? Of Brené Brown?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name is.
I was really surprised how funny she is.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm very drawn to her as well. She brings very difficult, vulnerable topics in a very relatable, funny way, and I think that's genius. I think
and also about herself, eh?
Yeah, very honest.
Because I was watching that, I was talking to my wife, and they said, we're going to watch this, and it was on a kind of holiday. I'm not going to watch any boring vulnerability thing on a Saturday night. No, it's going to be fine. And she was like, damn, that was really fun. So were there others that I don't know.
I just finished reading I think it's called Self-Acceptance. I forgot the author's name, but Self-Acceptance, it's like living with your Buddha nature. So it sounds very fluffy, but it truly comes down to the core of accepting everything about yourself. It also talks about how there first will be a lot of shame because you have certain realizations about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then there's a lot of shame, and that shame never helps. That's also something that Brené Brown talks about a lot. I think that's her main research. But the Self-Acceptance book talks about how in very small details of our behavior, we show that we feel the need sometimes to overcompensate, that we're not enough, that we're trying to fill a void, that we're trying to impress people. And it's in a very large matter of things that we do that it happens. So for example, also always having the need to be productive, that also comes from a I need to prove myself. I have to show something. I have to be more. I have to do more. So that's definitely something that clicked in me. Like, okay, yeah, it's okay if I want to sit down
Yes.
and do nothing for a while.
Yes. But it's actually all the same. It's working very hard. It's drinking a lot or other addictions. Even binge watching Netflix. It's all the same. It's running away. It's running away from who you really are, and it's a situation where you don't want to face, and be alone with yourself and deal with I wouldn't call it the demons, but deal with these, I would call it maybe negative emotions. So we're drinking or smoking or watching or even working, and people think it's okay, but it's not. It's not. Everybody has to know for themselves, of course, but it also for me it took a lot of work of being just to do nothing. But now I'm an expert in it, and it's also Veerle is really. She talks about, what she calls it, it's breathing. It's like some kind of meditation. And first I really thought it was like, especially for male, really rational, thinking all your life with your head. But that's not the core of life, and that's not where the creativity is. It's all about finding that journey, listening to your heart and being still, and then from there, and not like you just said, living with all these conditions which society, people, friends, schools, parents, that they put in your head, and it's going to make you miserable.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can maintain it for a while, but eventually you have to stop anyways. And I think this is why the lockdown is on some levels for some people a very good thing. I learned to really, be content with myself, be happy with just being with me and not running away in a bunch of new hobbies or banana bread or like whatever people are doing right now, and just finding, coming home to myself, I would even call it.
The essence, the purity,
Yeah.
And it's actually letting go of the masks, because the masks do not longer suit you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you think that after Corona, post-Corona, within a couple of months, that
couple of months?
Well, I don't know. I
was hoping weeks.
yeah, I know, but it's now, what is it? It's end of April, but we're now September. Do you believe that people will have changed, that there is no longer an old normal, but a new normal? And in that way, that's the second question, is that they will buy more from the person they want to know, just from people like you who are very authentic? Do you think that that will be more important? So more purpose-driven entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think so. I think...
Can you feel that already?
Yeah. I feel it already, and I hope in general, not just for my business or businesses as such, but in general, I hope a lot of people take some lessons from the lockdown. I'm kind of worried as well. I feel like some people are now even more productive and overachieving and creating a bunch of new hobbies and tasks for themselves, which is good right now because you also skip traffic, or you skip general work. But once it starts again, and it probably might start a bit harder than we're used to because we have to catch up. So I'm a little bit worried that a lot of the people who are now creating a new lifestyle won't be able to keep it up once everything starts all over again. So I hope that the lockdown is long enough for most people to find that time to come home to themselves, to what truly makes them happy, what truly are things that they do for themselves and not because they think they have to, or society does it, or they think it's expected of them, because often you think it yourself that it's expected from you, but it might not be the case at all. So I do hope a lot of people can slow down a bit more.
Now, success, what does that mean to you? And has that changed for you over the years?
It hasn't changed to me. That has really to do with freedom. I think it's Tony Robbins who said success is doing what you love, with who you love, when and where, like all of those factors, you decide on your own. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also reading Tim Ferriss right now, the 4 Hour Work
Yeah.
Week. It took
Yeah.
me a very long time to start reading it because I felt like I have to be ready
Mm-hmm.
for this book. Like it has to hit you at the right moment. And success is truly what you make of it. And if you don't make X amount of money, but you can do all the things that make you happy, then that's perfect.
Yeah.
So to me, it's very much so about freedom of doing what you truly want to leave
Yeah.
here.
Cool. Do you know Flow from Jan Bommeré?
No.
I'm going to send it to you as a gift. You should read, because now you're mentioning names, and I'm going to send that to you as a gift. I
All
had them
right.
also, and as a guest,
Yeah.
and that book completely changed my life. Together with Power of the Heart from Baptiste Pape, if you know him. That's also a guy from Antwerp. Was a lawyer, completely burnt out, broke down, went
Right.
into nature, and had a vision. And that vision told him, "You should make a book and a movie about a heart." And he did it.
Wow.
Yeah, he did it. It's
Wow.
unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm going to send you the flow. It's that really changed my view on things about working hard and things like that. And it's getting into that flow state, which is the Buddha nature or the natural states, like a
Yeah.
baby or a toddler is. Because he's not thinking about tomorrow, not yesterday, not what they're going to think about me, what's going to be the opinion. No, he's just doing what they want to do at that moment.
Yeah.
And that's the true nature of a human being. And the book is really accessible and not so fluffy. And it's also mentioning, for instance, Tony Robbins, because
Nice.
I don't know if you know the story about Tony Robbins, because he used to be very poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it a little, but you can tell me if you want, because
Yeah. But we were
I don't
talking
know
about you,
it.
about the definition of success. I interrupted you there.
It's really freedom. It's being able to decide what you want to do and where you want to go. For a while, I thought I would like to be the Brené Brown of the comfort zone, because I think getting out of your comfort zone is crucial for
Mm.
everything. But then I thought, I don't want to travel all the time and be in anonymous hotel rooms going from one place to the other. I want to be able to live a life where if I do get asked to speak somewhere, or if I want to speak somewhere and I ask myself, that I can decide yes or no.
Yeah.
But that not my whole life is architected around that.
Yeah.
Do you know Joe Rogan?
Yes,
He
of
also
course, of course. Yeah,
yeah. He records whenever he wants to with the
yeah,
people he wants to.
yeah,
He's not depending on any other thing. He can just live out of the podcast. If he wants to go hunting for a month, he goes hunting. Like he
yeah,
can just fill it in creatively
yeah,
when he wants to. And I think that is the ultimate
yeah,
definition of success and where I would
yeah.
like to go.
But it's the same for Tim Ferriss, eh?
Yeah,
It's the same. If you look at, I don't know, did you already read his book or are you starting to read his book?
I'm halfway through.
Ah, yeah, okay, okay. Well, there's some very interesting principles in it, like email
Yeah, yeah,
and how delegating work, for instance. What do you like? What you don't like? What you're going to do? Delegate and focus really on your strengths. What gives you energy, positive energy.
hmm
Interesting, interesting. Now,
yeah,
last year, you did a very successful crowdfunding. I call it a round because there were multiple initiatives.
hmm
Because I remember vividly a competition that you did and you won. You were the number one.
yeah.
Now, what is life today with
Exhausting.
BAM? What?
That was a very exhausting competition, but yeah, it
Yeah, you
was.
were very, very, very. How do you say that? Like on Instagram, you were very present.
Yeah, I was gonna win, and I did everything I had to win. But after 2 weeks, I was like, ugh. When the competition was over, I was exhausted. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it or do it again. But yeah,
And now, where are you? You searching suppliers, because I saw that you were searching suppliers or the selection in suppliers. So
yeah.
where are you
So
with Bamboost?
the samples should be shipped here this week. So I'm
Okay.
very curious to see how that all goes. But then I would have the first 3 models, the prototypes ready. Then I can test it with Annette, who I mentioned before, to see if those are the ones we can go with. If they're good, then we can start the production. And then it will last it will take about 2 months to actually produce the first batch.
So this means in January 2021, it's actually available everywhere. Everywhere to buy.
Well, I hope more this summer, but
Okay.
So if they're good now, we can test them for a while. But I always think 3 months, but it has shown me already that it always gets pushed back. So I shouldn't be that. But I still hope 2020 is
The
the
launch.
year that I can launch it. Yeah.
So especially before Christmas, so that every gentleman can give it to his loved one on
Yeah.
Christmas, for instance, or for Santa
Yeah.
Claus.
Yeah. Both are an option.
And what is then for you now in Bamboost, the biggest challenge? Is that finding money? Is that finding the right supplier? Is that what is for you the biggest obstacle there?
Currently, it's more branding. How am I going to position myself?
Okay.
How is it going to fit into the story with oh yes? I don't think I want to be the face of it per se all the time. It just works now because it's easy. I'm available, like I'm there. I'm going to do whatever it takes, but I don't necessarily want to always be involved in it. So it's mainly now the question of how will I position it in what's currently here, and how will I proceed with
Okay.
Bamboo? What would the branding look like? Like that's more of a question I have now.
And is it because you're also the face of oh yes of the t-shirts that you is then oh yes more your baby than Bamboost is your baby?
I don't think those are related. I think it's more a certain, but that could be my own limiting belief. But I feel like it should be more of a premium label, and it should be more.
Okay.
There should be more trust. So then a face is still important, indeed, but there should be more. I feel like it should be a little bit more objective and a little bit less loud as a brand,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it's still quite a sensitive topic in ways. It talks about health, it's eco-friendly. So if I use all pink there and loud quotes
Yeah.
and exclamation points, it might not fit
Yeah, in the
into the,
premium.
yeah.
Although, who said that there are rules for the
Yeah,
premium label? I mean,
that,
maybe you're the rebel.
yeah, could be. Yeah, I still have to make that decision because I also feel like the whole reason why I want to come up with this brand is because I don't feel like I fit in any of the other boxes that are currently there, and I feel like if it's indeed in the eco-friendly box, then I'm just not drawn to it. So I would like to give it a different branding sauce.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just dare to do it the way I've been doing it.
Yeah.
But that's currently where most of my energy goes, and where I'm also looking for a partner to do
Yeah.
branding with me to make sure it just goes perfectly from, I mean,
Yeah.
not perfect, but it just starts really well.
Yeah. 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 I think the things you're a role model, if you want it or not, and people are no longer going to buy what you do, but who you are. So they're going to. It's the same with me. Eh? I also helped you a little bit on the crowdfunding. It's about
Yeah,
you see somebody with passion and you believe in that purpose and it's authentic. So there was like, okay, the same with the t-shirts. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to twerk because I know you're also giving away twerking
yeah.
classes. Although I'm capable of it, eh? Don't underestimate me. Eh?
No, but you wouldn't
Um,
be the first man to come, so
what?
you wouldn't also be the first man in the
Ah, yeah,
classes.
damn. Now, um, so yeah, I really think it's especially in the beginning because you want to do something very special. Eh? The danger is it's going to come or in the very high premium label thing, and it's going to be swelled under all the rest, or it's going to come in the eco-friendly, and then it's going to be yeah, how this call with this, people are going to wear like sheets and smoking funny things. I'm a little bit. It's not true, of course, but you understand me. And I think, I don't know if you know the marketing story about the red and the blue oceans, but you're actually creating your own space and your
Mhm.
own niche. And I mean, that's, I think a lot of people today can do. So why not go for that route instead of going for, yeah, why you have to choose? Just be yourself and do. It's the same with the t-shirts. I mean, I think a lot of people fall for your Beyonce like quality, that combination of beauty power, so that masculine male but not arrogant, so that but also that female, vulnerable, sensitive, but not being girly, you see,
Mhm.
and at the same time being authentic and being yourself. And I think that is refreshing in fashion industry. I think that's actually what the most women are looking for, and actually which is the most women are going to buy, because they no longer going to buy these perfectly hashtag fashionable, cosmopolitan, model things. And it's like what you just said, I mean, there's also been a kind of a culture with Alicia Keys wearing no makeup no more, especially today. I mean, if I'm in Zoom calls, a lot of women that I see are no longer wearing makeup anymore.
Mhm. True. Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe I should just dare to continue,
but the
and it would
answers will come,
also
eh?
save me a lot of money um, if I don't outsource my branding.
What do you say?
It would also save me a lot of money if I don't outsource my branding.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah,
budgets go easily up to 10K and I still have to launch. So maybe,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know it's a very difficult decision, but I am pretty sure that the answers will come to you.
yeah.
And you should really, I mean, everybody I had here had, and they're very mixed audiences, like people from 50 plus who are investing in lots of startups in Belgium. And I had a guy from 23 who's a YouTuber, and they all said one thing. The best decision that I took was I listened to my gut, intuition, my heart, whatever you want to call it. But the
Mhm.
decision that I took with my head, I felt that there something was not 100% right, but I did it anyway. And afterwards, I had to admit they were wrong.
Yeah.
And it sounds very corny,
No, it makes sense.
but if I would go back in time and I would meet myself around your age, that was the thing that I said, because I was then a complete other person, and that would be the thing that I would say. And
Okay.
now I'm going to reverse the question. If you can go back in time and you would meet your, I don't know, 10 or 15-year young Lore, what would you say to her? What would be the lessons that you would give to her?
Whew, that's a tough one.
Wear good underwear?
Yes, start earlier with his ideas. Start before anyone else has Bamboost or bamboo underwear. I think it's hard to summarize because, like we said before, it's a bunch of little insights and steps. But staying true to your core is definitely important. Investing in that core, what is it? And I think it's hard to summarize it, I feel. And the end goal where I someday want to go is to be able to give young girls already lessons like that, so they don't have to have years to clean up certain things, but that they can already start
Yeah.
believing in themselves and not having to change certain mindsets or certain beliefs, that you don't have to tweak them, that you're already giving them certain mindsets
Yeah.
and values. So at some point in my life, I would like to find a way to make that very accessible for every girl out there. So you don't have to clean up a bunch of emotional baggage, but that you can actually start with a head start already.
So actually what you're saying, you want to actually to make the world happy.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, just happy and lighter. I feel like we're very good at making things more complex, heavier than they are. We carry them with us for way too long. So if everything could be a little bit lighter and people could indeed be happier and more satisfied with things. So that's also the coming home to yourself. You might know that other people might not appreciate certain things, or that it might not be enough for someone else, but if you're happy with it, enjoy it and don't feel ashamed if you're not working super hard every day, or if you're not working out and making banana bread and doing all these other things. If you know what makes you happy, and you can stop judging yourself
Yeah.
or letting judgment in from other people, it's just so much easier. And that would be very nice too.
But isn't that actually the result of the fact that the popular belief or lie actually is that if I achieve this or that, for instance, if I can make banana bread, or if I have a Tomorrowland body, or if I earn, I don't know, 1 million euros or whatever, or when I have that car, or when I have that relationship, or when I have that woman, or when I have that man, or when I have that, I don't know what, then I will be happy. But
Yeah.
the thing is, it's like a carrot hanging in front of you. You're never going to achieve it. And it's just the other way around. You are
Yeah.
happy with, grateful what there is right now, what you have, who you are, etc., etc. And then all these beautiful things will come
Yeah.
if you're open for it. Because you're not
Mhm.
living anymore in the past or in the future, but you're living here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not depending on that thing to give you the stamp of approval to say you did well
Yeah,
because you have this or that now, or you are this or that.
yeah.
But
But
it's just connect.
that's the Buddha thing. Eh? It's about non-attachment. Eh? It's about
Yeah.
it's good to own things, but make sure that things don't own you. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, these are very wise words. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
if
think
I'm
a wise word today is Tomorrowland body. I didn't know that was a thing, but I immediately know what you mean. So
if
good
I
word
if
of
I
it.
if I if I see pictures of Tomorrowland, I see gentlemen with six packs and women. They're all, and I'm like, and then you go to Tomorrowland, I don't see these bodies. I'm like, are they
No.
really? It's like they, and I don't want to focus on Tomorrowland because it's great what they're doing, but that's for me, yeah, something that I think about. Yeah, Tomorrowland body. That's like, yeah, having that all these to show off, eh? To
Yeah.
be somebody,
Yeah.
but you're already somebody, and I think that's the thing, eh? People want to fix themselves. But you're not a
Yeah.
project to be fixed. It's just the other
No.
way around. It's
Yeah.
letting go of certain beliefs, conditioning, lies.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the same with, for example, women in their body. I think a lot of things still come from diets and whatever, still come from I have to fix something, I have to change something, and kind of out of hate for certain parts of their body rather than out of love for my body. Out of love for my body, like now, for example, I do intermittent fasting sometimes,
Yeah,
but I don't see it as a punishment or I cannot eat right now.
yeah,
I see it as my body needs to rest, and I do this
yeah,
out of love for
yeah,
my body. And
yeah,
that just that mind shift is
yeah,
so huge and has been so huge in being able to take care of myself. If I compare it to a few years ago where I was constantly counting calories and doing all these diets and everything felt so restrictive, so I also couldn't keep it up.
mm,
So if you do it out of a love for yourself and not
yeah,
because you have to fix
yeah.
something, that's just a huge, huge difference.
I also struggled there because I am in sales, so I had to have dinner and lunch a lot. So
Yeah.
so had quite a belly, and yeah, it's the same. Eh? You're trying a lot of things, but now I see it in terms of energy. So my body is like the vehicle where I live in.
Mhm.
So and yeah, I mean you are still 29, but I can agree. If I can assure you, when you eat very unhealthy all the time, you drink lots of sugar, water, Coca-Cola, and things like that, or even Diet Coke. I mean, it's going to rub your body, and you're not going to feel it when you're 30, but when you're 40, you're going to feel it,
Yeah.
especially when you're having a child when you're 42. I mean,
Yeah.
that's um, and so then you think about energy, and it's about indeed loving your body and accepting, yeah, what the body is looking like. But it's all about energy when you then starting to, yeah, like intermittent fasting, which is actually healthy for you.
Mhm.
Just like you stop, for instance, at 6 p.m. and then you eat again 12 the next day. I mean, also having that experience of going to that feeling of, is that really hunger, or is it maybe I'm thirsty, or is it like I have cravings and so I want to eat something away,
Mhm.
some kind
Yeah.
of emotional eating. Yeah. Where did you pick up that intermittent fasting?
Pooh. I think my boyfriend introduced it, but it's a thing already that's been around for quite a long time.
Okay.
The same with like the miracle morning. There's a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
principles
yeah.
that a lot of people
Yeah, yeah.
do, so it's hard to pinpoint it to where I got it. But I think my boyfriend started it, and
Okay.
um,
You're talking about miracle mornings. Do you have some special morning routines? Because that's also some hype thing. Hype.
yeah, I do. I used to have a million, meaning that I already failed 7 times before 8 a.m. and I still meditated and stretched and did yoga and worked out. Like I still did like 5 things, but I didn't do all 10. So I
Mm-hmm.
already felt like I failed, which is not smart. But I'm definitely a morning person. So I do like to wake up early when everything is still quiet, nothing's expected from you. So by early, I mean 6. It's not like super crazy early. But I like to wake up at 6 and just start slowly. And I diminished it to now only stretch.
Okay.
So I decide every morning which one feels good at the moment. I don't have a specific one that I have to do, or I just decide what my body needs at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and I read.
Read.
But it's not, yeah. So stretching and reading and drinking coffee, those are the only 2 things I have to do in the morning, and it's very easy to accomplish them because it's just
Okay.
two things that I enjoy and that I also feel. If I don't do them, I feel it in my body, and I feel it when I just immediately start. It just doesn't really have the same effect on my day. So I do have a morning routine, but it's a lot more condensed than what I used to tell myself I had to do before actually doing stuff in the morning.
And the meditating part, you stopped with that?
I do. So my stretching is kind of my
Yeah.
meditation. So the
Yeah.
stretching is very focused on breathing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have a voiceover, or I do it guided, like
Got
guided
it. Yeah, yeah.
meditation. Um, but I feel like a more active form is sometimes needed for me.
Yeah.
So I really like yin yoga. Yin yoga is super, super slow. It's like you stay in every position 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay.
So it's a very slow type of yoga where you also sometimes push your body a little bit because you do stay in a certain position for a long time, so you will start feeling it. But because you focus on your mindset and on your breathing, to me, it's also a very good meditation.
Yeah.
Um, and I like to do the one from Vision from
Okay.
Mindfully.
Yeah, my Vision Lakini. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Vlakani,
has
or
the
what's the name? Yeah.
6 phase. Yeah, I don't know. He has the 6 phase
Yeah,
meditation,
I know. I did it also.
and
Yeah.
I like to do that one as well, but not every morning.
Yeah. You know
Like
what I
that.
did? What I just followed, and this part I'm going to cut out, is the from White Valley, the Wild Fit. I'm doing it right now, and I'm in day 90. You know that program?
Well,
Wild Fit. I
well,
bought that. I
oh,
did that. That's it's actually voor hoe zeg je dat nu? Om af te vallen. So it's a complete, it's with videos. They have to listen to the Monday, Tuesday, and so on. And then after 2 weeks, it's only the Monday and the Friday. And on the Friday, it's called Enhancement Day. The same, for instance, in the second week, now we're going to, you have to drink 6 glasses of water every day. You have to do 2 times breathing, 5-5-5. So you breathe in 5 times, you hold it 5 seconds, and then you breathe out. Okay. And then in week 3, you're going to cut smoking. You stop drinking alcohol. Week 4 is like no sugar anymore. So the fake sugar, and he goes on and on and on. And so they're going to anchor and resetting your mind about food. And for me, I've lost 10 kilograms, and I no
wow,
longer have a sugar craving. Yeah, Wild Fit it's called, from Mind Valley.
crazy. That's good. Yeah, because I feel like sugar addiction is so underrated, but I feel like almost all of us have it. So if you
Yeah,
can kick that addiction, that's amazing.
for me, I smoked very long,
Mm.
and it's sugar craving. It's the same. There's something in me, a trauma or a blockage or whatever that needs to be solved, and it was transferred to sugar craving. So. Yeah, you know it. I mean, when there was like, or even in the office, somebody has a birthday, they don't bring carrots, they bring M&Ms or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, I was the number one, and it
Yeah.
was not like taking one, it was,
Yeah.
and I was even going to the shop to get M&Ms to go back, have meetings, share it with everybody, and at the end of the day, I was like, oh, and that will really drain your energy. But
Yeah.
now, That's it's. I'm a big fan of the mind valley of fishing.
Yeah.
Now, within 10 years, who is Lorie?
In 10 years.
Yes, who are you?
Ooh. I hope the same. I don't want to sound vain, but I don't feel like I want to change drastically a lot of things. I hope I am, I don't want to say balanced because I don't feel like I'm a person who needs to have certain balance all the time. I feel like I thrive on doing a lot and then relaxing and then crushing something again and then relaxing. But maybe harmony or my way of
Hmm.
being free and my way of being relaxed in a way,
Hmm.
that would happen. I would love to add mom as a title in 10 years.
Okay.
And it's hard for me to say I need to have this and I have to have this business goal or this title or my business has to has this or this, because what makes me happy right now or what I think I will want to have in 3, 4, 5, 10 years might change along the way.
Yeah.
Might change when I taste a little bit of it and then think maybe not. So I don't like to say in 10 years this will be me.
Hmm.
I like to more focus on, I would like to have a lot of energy going towards what I love to do. And well, mom would be a nice title to add.
And focusing even more on the core who you really are,
Yeah, yeah,
because that's actually business is an extension of who you are,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and it's not the other way around. I mean, you do things out of a certain passion.
yeah,
If you want to make an impact on the world
yeah.
and you live from purpose, of course. If you're just doing to make money, to just become rich as a goal, and there's nothing, I have nothing against that. I
No,
mean, it's just not my way anymore. I mean,
no. And if that was my goal, I think I could very easily say in 2 years this, in 3 years this, in 10 years that, but I don't have that. So it's because it's more a passion driven thing. I don't like to label it in certain
yeah,
boxes.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's a great answer, because the what I personally believe is that the path will show itself while you're walking on it.
mhm.
But you don't. It's like driving in a car, and you can only see like 100 meters ahead, and because there is a lot of fog. Well, you know you're on the right road, and you know if I follow this road, this is going to be okay. Because just like you mentioned in the beginning, it's a journey. The destination is the journey, and once you get that mental concept, I mean, everything is joy, and everything, even an obstacle, is like a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I also feel it should be a lot more comfortable for people to rewrite their
Yeah,
story. If your story is not going where you want to go, but you already said it, or you studied this, or you just started this job, so you can't abandon it now. Yes, you can. If you realize along the way it's not for you, why would you pretend for 2 more years so
hmm,
other people are
yeah.
pleased or happy? If that's not for you, then you can rewrite your story at any moment.
I'm really perplexed, because these are things I didn't know about you, and that these are things also that you don't post a lot about. I believe. Eh?
Yeah, I should do it more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you really should do that more. Maybe you're following some people will leave, but the real ones who are going to attract to you, and they will buy from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could be. We'll give it a try.
Now, last question: what is still a crazy dream for you, but a crazy one? Eh? Is it like singing and dancing, twerking on stage with Beyonce? Like,
Could be. I think if I want to twerk right now with somebody, it would be Lizzo. I don't know if you know Lizzo.
no, sorry, who is he?
Okay, you have to. Send her. I'll send you her name so you can Google her. But
Okay.
she's like a crazy dream.
It can be
Well,
anything, eh? A movie,
yeah.
it can be living in New Zealand, it can be anything you want, eh? But
Well,
it has to be
something that
crazy, yeah?
yeah, a life goal for me would be to make um, a single, not an album, but just like one song with the Lonely Islands, they're called. I don't know if you know them. I'll also send you that. It's very funny, sort of R&B. It kind of mocks the stereotypical vision of what rap culture
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
or they
Yeah.
just make fun of a bunch of things, take it in totally different context, and I think it's genius. I think it's very funny. So even though I cannot sing at all, I would love to make a song with them one day that, yeah, just maybe brings a taboo subject in such a different way.
Ah, maybe
Uh,
that's the launch concept.
oh, but I cannot reach the Lonely Island.
Why not?
I don't know. I think it's hard to reach them, and I don't even have an idea for a song, and I can't sing. So why would they work
But
with me?
your rap, so your MC lore on the mic,
Yeah, I could do that.
rapping it away. I mean, I
Yeah,
play guitar and I play guitar in a band, and we started playing Rappers Delights. It's one of the first hip hop rap records from Sugar Hill Gang from '79.
mm,
And they said somebody he needs to rap. You do it, and I was like, I don't know how to do it. But then you do it like on the hands of face, and you just do it, and then you feel, but you just do it and you get better at it. And it's again the same thing, eh? You just say to yourself, I cannot sing. Yes, you can. Everybody can sing. It's like
yeah,
everybody can draw. It's just something that you are fooling yourself. You can sing. I learned to sing myself with a professional singer, and it was the same. I cannot sing because someone told me when I was 18 that I could not sing. I can sing. Yeah.
hmm,
And it's just having, it's the same with me, eh? You're a YouTuber, you're an influencer. Is it? I do this out of passion. How do
yeah,
you do it? I don't know. You just start. My first episodes were complete crap,
yeah,
but you
yeah,
just do it. It's a
yeah,
journey. So you start small and you say baby steps, and then suddenly you're like, oh, okay. Hi Beyonce, how you doing?
yeah. That would be very nice. Yeah.
Lore, what is something that we did not talk about or touch upon that you want to share?
Mm, hmm. I'm not sure. I think we went pretty in depth into not the superficial things, not the typical things you can find on my resume. Like I feel like we went very beyond traditional Q&As, which I really enjoyed. So I feel like I said maybe more than I expected I would say already. So
It's pure, and that's the thing. That's the
yeah.
beauty of it. Because I'm not good. I mean, you just talked about Joe Rogan. I mean, he's been an influence of mine. But the same with Tom Billieu, if you know him.
What's the name?
Tom Billieu from Impact Theory.
No.
No, it's also a podcaster, and that's why it's actually where I got the intermittent fasting thing.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Wim Hof, the Iceman. You know that story? That's also
Yes, I was gonna go there
I
in
I
March.
I did that. Eh? I do that
Oh,
every morning. Eh? Every morning. Eh?
really?
Even with my son. Eh? He's 3 years old, and he's standing there in the ice cold water. Eh?
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
it's a breathing technique, and it's really about focusing on your breath, and it's saying the cold is my friend, the cold is my friend, the cold is my friends, and you're focusing on your breathing, and then and it's in the beginning it's a nightmare, but after a
Yeah.
couple of weeks it's your body is adapted to that and is longing for that. So
Yeah.
and I enjoy warm showers also, eh? But then there comes the cold part, and I cannot finish a shower without having a cold shower, and it's because your body needs that I would show that shock or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely recommend it.
I was gonna go to Wim Hof the 28th and the 29th of March, but lockdown prevented that. So we bought his course and we're
Yeah,
doing the breathing
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
But someday I still want to go
yeah, me too. I want
into
to
like
go
like not just a weekend, like the full retreat somewhere.
in Poland, where he's going to in the snow and he's going to dive into the water in the pool with
That's
lots
what
of
I wanted
people.
to do. But this one was in the Netherlands.
And if you then have your underwear, because they're doing it in their underwear, it's a nice
Yeah, thank
branding.
you, Brandon. Yeah, true. Good call.
I'm going to send you my invoice.
Yeah, that's my new branding consultant. I found him.
No. I'm not a marketeer, not at all, not at all. Laura, I want to thank you. I'm very grateful for your time, your passion, and your energy. I also thank you for your honesty and your openness. Because, yeah, I mean, the conversation is all about you. And if you're just going to talk about superficial things, it's going to be a superficial conversation.
Yeah, true. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for inviting the space for me to be open as well, because
I think you, and I'm convinced you're a very inspiring woman role model. And I think this is also the reason why I asked because I had 8 people, and now it's almost all women. So I actually pick out the women, and because we have a small history with Veerle, because you were an assistant, and then you were already, there was something about you, and then came the whole thing with your oh yes, and the Bamboost, and yeah, I mean, it's who you are, and yeah, that's what I believe in, and because I also see from my friends, their daughters, they are struggling with the things that happened to you. They're like 18 or 19, they're going to university, but they put those things on Instagram and their struggles, and it's all about all the things that you're mentioning. And so if I can have an impact on them from somebody that relates to their world,
it would make their life a lot easier.
Yeah, but it's going to change their lives. That's it.
True.
So thank you. I wish you lots of success, lots of pleasure, and see you next time. In real life in Antwerp.
Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.